everyone, and welcome to another episode of Off the Mark. Fuck it, we're keeping me drinking a Celsius on screen because your boy is exhausted. um, so, today's another solo episode, which means an update on what's going on in my life, in my career, and in my journey of creating this production company I've been dreaming about starting since I was in 7th grade. Where am I? Okay, so last episode, it was Mike Knox. The one before that, it was an update on my birthday. Thank you for all the people who reached out to me asking if the clickbait thumbnail I made actually meant I was actually being evicted. Thank you for reaching out with your concerns and not bothering to watch the actual podcast. Appreciate you caring about me, but not enough to actually support my endeavors with your view time. So my friends who were over, my brother and my best friend who came over for my birthday, they went back, I think about around 2 weeks ago now, ended up staying in town a bit longer because Boston got hit with a blizzard, so they weren't able to come back during their originally scheduled departure time, which was great. I got to spend more time with them, had a wonderful time, show them the sights. They were able to enjoy California while their home and their coworkers and their families were getting pelted by record-breaking blizzards. And they told me how it felt unfair that they were able to enjoy sometimes getting into the 80-degree weather out here while, back home people were freezing to death. Also showed them the local cuisine. We found out that Boston doesn't have tri-tip. If you're in LA, you'd know what that is. Tri-tip is a cut of steak that's very tender, very delicious. The way I described it to my brother when I had him try it out, it's kind of like, it's a very tender cut that tastes like a hot dog or a pastrami, but really good hot dog or pastrami. And he absolutely loved it. But we found out that it's apparently something local to California and other places with a barbecue culture. In Boston, I think you'd have to ask for a cut of like mid sirloin. Point is, we found out together that tri-tip is something unique to LA. It's not in Boston. We started joking about how we need to get into business of transporting tri-tips to Boston from LA. That's how I'm going to get myself out of this financial slump and pay off our family's house. That's the plan. I'm going to abandon all these dreams, and from now on, all these videos you're going to see are just going to be vlogs of me packing meat trucks and driving them across country. I'm sure you're going to love that content better than me rambling about plans, about comedy and interviewing people and drinking Celsiuses while I do it. So yeah, had a wonderful birthday celebration. Told my friends that as they dropped them off, that this was like the best birthday celebration I've ever had. So starting my 30s off right. Since then, I've been noticing, I guess I'm feeling a bit more comfortable with myself. I've heard that 30s are great because you're still young, but you're a bit more sure of yourself, a bit more developed, a bit more mature, a bit more confident with yourself. And I'm starting to realize that I'm still dealing with my regular insecurities and troubles, but I've been enjoying it. It's been cool. But since my birthday ended, I've been going balls to the wall, being busy with work and life. And it's been feeling like I haven't had, it's been hard to relax. The good news is that I've had more productivity than I've had in a very long time. I told myself that, well, big thing is that my savings have run out So now I'm scraping together what I have to scrape together what I can within the month in order to pay rent at the next month. So the reality of being broke has been a very good motivator for me to bust my ass and work my hardest. Try to find a new job, do more Uber Eats, save more. That's been what's been on my mind, primarily on my mind of late. That's been both causing me stress and been motivating me to do stuff. So it's a mixed blessing finding that motivation. But yeah, I told myself I just relax during this trip the week that my friends are here, and that I'm doing stuff to celebrate my birthday. And then once I'm back, and once they go back, the splurging is going to end. I'm going to start budgeting more aggressively again and just start hustling as aggressively as possible again. And I've been following through on that. I've been thinking how, I always say that I wanted to start this production company, and since November of last year, I was gonna make this my main thing and take it really seriously. And I feel like I haven't proven that with my actions. It's not that I've done nothing, as you've seen from prior episodes. I got this podcast launch. I've been still doing comedy stuff. Been booking gigs, photo gigs here and there, but I could have done a lot more. So right now, I've broken down my life to just be, every single hour, my whole schedule, it's primarily devoted to work stuff, either finding work through a regular job, doing Uber, or doing my building this business, this side hustle that I hope to turn into a business. The only things that I'm allowing are important social events like friends' birthdays, for example, and or 12-step meetings. The only thing I'm putting before my work life right now is my spiritual life. So I'm still making time to go to church, still taking calls from sponsees and fellows. So I'm not making work my God. At least I'm trying my best not to. I did tell my friend that I feel like I'm starting a new addiction, that being a workaholic, which we'll see where it goes. Hopefully, it doesn't destroy my life too much. Hopefully, this stays more of a joke than reality. But I've been noticing, just, I don't know, maybe it's turning 30 or being broke. It's probably a mix of the two. But I've been noticing my mindset shift to where I feel the need. I feel more relaxed if I'm working than if I'm trying to avoid the work. I once saw this clip by Jeff Bezos, and somebody asked him, "When do you have time to relax?" Saying about how much he works, especially when this interview was taken. It was at the very beginning of Amazon, so he was still building it up into the giant behemoth it is today. And he said, work is relaxing. You're not being relaxed, you're getting anxious when you're thinking about the work you're doing. So just getting it done is a form of relaxation for me. And I'm starting to feel that, but I'm also feeling a lot of, after I'm done doing the work, I still don't feel relaxed. I mean, not all the time, but a bunch of the time. Like last night, I was editing photos for a client for like over 3 hours, maybe four. And afterwards, it was like already like 1 or 2 in the morning. And I'm like, I, I just, I don't know. I either want to keep working. I know I should go to bed. That would be healthiest for me. But I don't know. I feel like I don't know how to relax. I don't, I want to I don't want to sleep. I want to keep going. Ended up It's just getting a burger from Jack in the Box and smoking a couple cigarettes on a drive. Then coming back and then making some Valerian routine and then finally being able to pass out in the wee hours of the morning. So I guess I did. It wasn't the most healthiest coping skill. Hopefully, it doesn't become a habit, especially given that I'm running out of money and I shouldn't be spending it on fast food, let alone my weight is starting to creep up on me and haven't been to the gym in a minute. Yeah, it's been getting a bit tougher to relax. I just always want to keep doing stuff, even if it's, you know, watching a movie or show that I feel like need to watch for creative, inspirational purposes, which I guess is a form of relaxation. Recently saw Ran by Kurosawa. That's I've been meaning to watch for a while, trying to finish up Peaky Blinders, but that takes up time too. Um, Also, just restarted rewatching Boardwalk Empire. I haven't seen that show since I was a kid. I loved it so much, and watching it now after around 14 years since I last watched it, it's interesting. Maybe I'll talk more about that later. I don't know. I want to make time just for. I guess maybe I am relaxing, but I wish I was doing it earlier because I end up like finishing work around 2 or 3, and then I just stay up for an extra 2 or 3 hours and go to bed at like 5 or 6, which just isn't healthy. I think what I really want to do is just get a spa day and get my tightened back all fixed up so that way I can go. So go to the sauna, go to some jacuzzi. I think I'll do that tonight at LA Fitness. I want to make time to go to an actual Korean spa, try out all the different saunas they have there. I've heard of this new place called Spa King in downtown. I might try it out. I've heard it's a hidden gem and even better than the usual place I go. But I've been putting that off because, like I said, I'm broke right now. Hopefully, my back doesn't continue getting worse. I have a buddy of mine who's been dealing with a back injury and worry that the soreness and tightness I've been dealing with is going to erupt into me also being out of work for like 8 months. Hope it doesn't come to that. Yeah, I've had a friend told me to start doing yoga so that way I don't end up with back problems like him. Different friend than the last one. This guy is not out of work because of it, but he's just like, it's like this consistent pain. I just need to go take care of that. But anyway, enough of the blabbering about what's been going on. I want to share some important updates on that production company I always keep talking about. So I was up late during one of those late nights I was describing a second ago. I decided to start, I was doing some journaling, and one of my journals is what I call my waste book. I got the idea from a podcast. Shout out How to Take Over the World. Great show. He mentioned how some people you have a notebook just for ideas that they're going to throw away. It's just like think of like a workbook, like a scrapbook maybe, but it has all the ideas that you're not necessarily going to hold on to. The most famous example I've heard about from that show was Isaac Newton. He just had these notebooks where he just do random formulas of things that he was curious on and stuff that he really sunk his teeth into. He had he made a more focused study in a different notebook. So that's what this book is for. It's I've used it for random journal entries, ideas on how to structure my photography business, plans for my past comedy show I produced, jokes I've written down before, shows, before sets I've done. Now, the most recent entry I did that it was a brainstorming session about all these different projects I'm doing right now. Like I've said, I my stand up, do my photography. I run that open mic on Thursdays, which I might be taking a step back from due to trying to work more. I also got this podcast, and my background has been in social media marketing, digital marketing, but with a focus in social media. And my end goal is to start a production company. Why a production company? I want to have a platform to make all the different types of media and art that I'm interested in. So I was sitting down the other night and just started scribbling some graphs and ideas and some words out. And I enumerated everything that I'm working on right now. Not stuff I'd like to do, but stuff I'm currently doing. And I broke it down into the podcast, some freelance social media management and marketing that people have reached out to me to do, photography, my stand up performances that I get booked by other people's shows, and the Panda Room open mic. Now, if I lump all that together, so what could that be as like an entity, as an organization? And I figured, why don't I just house all these projects under a single studio? Because if we're going to sum it up, basically what I'm making is social media content and advising others how to do theirs, performing events in the form of the Panda Room and my stand-up performances, and also doing photo shoots, which is a bit of mix of both social media content creation and events, since I'm meeting up with models and I'm shooting with them, but I'm giving them pictures that usually end up on social media or audition sites. So if I can just brand all of this under one entity, it would make it a lot easier to not be overwhelmed. Because lately the way I've been describing it to all my friends is that I feel like I'm an octopus and I'm getting pulled by each tentacle in a different direction. I've got all the different projects I've mentioned below, as well as trying to find work, trying to keep up with my health, trying to keep up with my spiritual health. It's been a lot. And I feel like putting it in this way as an entire studio, as like a production studio, all the career stuff, all the side hustle stuff, I think it would make it a bit more organized and help me try to condense some of these tentacles into one group. So that way, instead of being pulled 8 different ways, I'm only getting pulled into maybe 4. And I have a name for it. I was also doodling some logo designs. I was thinking for a while, I've thought about naming some sort of project, um, or the production company, something related to one of the media ideas, content ideas I've had. I want to call it Synthesis. It's based on this concept in philosophy, if anyone is familiar with Hegel. I'm no expert, but I read a bit of him in college, and his concept of synthesis, as I understand it, is that he saw time as the interaction of three different forces. This thesis, which is the status quo of a society or culture, the antithesis, the counterculture to that mainstream culture, and the synthesis, which is the combination of those two forces. And I really love that idea because in a world right now where that's becoming more and more tribalized, particularly in politics, but this applies to everything, every aspect of culture and society, from business to religion, what have you. I feel like the best course of action in this stratified world is to take the best parts from each different movement and cultural tradition and see how it makes life better for the most amount of people. And that's I think what you do as an artist. No one makes anything in a vacuum. No one makes anything truly unique. Everyone's taking inspiration from other artists and people and ideas and movements. The idea of a synthesis, what I try to do with my work, taking respectfully from all these different sources that I come across from. I think that's the type of work I want to make. And that's the type of organization I want to build that produces work like that. So the idea is the Synthesis Studios. We shall see where this goes. I'm going to meet with my friend tomorrow and talk about some of the ideas I've been having with that. But we shall see. I have a couple of steps on how to make this a reality, as well as some other irons in the fire that hopefully will develop my career and bring in some money. Hopefully soon I'll have a job, and hopefully soon I'll get my credit card approved that I'm applying for. Some good news that happened recently was that this credit issue that I didn't know about, basically there was a charge on there that I disputed on my credit report. It got taken off. If you saw my short or reel on it, you'd know the situation, but it got taken off. So I should hopefully have a line of credit soon that will be at 0% interest due to the special offer my bank's offering me. So that would take a large load off my back, as well as hearing back from the background checks and drug tests for some of these jobs I'm applying for. So once I get that started, I'll make things a lot clearer and a lot less stressful, at least on the financial front. At least I know that my rent's going to be covered every month. Hopefully some of these jobs still aren't going to be paying me. I'm still not sure if they're going to be covering all my expenses, at least at first, until the health insurance benefits kick in. But it definitely will be more than I'm making right now. Progress is being made. It's wearing on me, but I've got plenty of caffeine. And one thing that this birthday has taught me is that I have so many good people in my life that care about me and love me. And I don't know, I feel like, it's hard for me to have faith in God, especially when it comes to money issues, because it seems like most of my life I had to rely on myself for coming up in the world and finding any source of stability. But trying to flex my step 3 and just turn all these issues over to whatever runs the universe and believe that I will be provided for, and having faith that I'm smart enough to provide for myself and take opportunities that will come by. I've I've had some hard times, but I've always been able to take care of myself throughout my life. Um, so I will be fine. I just got to keep working and taking care of myself. Yeah, I think that's a good place to stop. I'm going to edit this together. Hopefully, next update, you'll hear a little bit more about synthesis, and I will have my camera set up. You might have noticed there's a difference in video quality between solo episodes or just episodes in general now that I realize it. It is because some episodes I will record with my Canon M50 and then sync up the audio and post. And some episodes I just use the webcam on my laptop because it's a pretty good webcam for inbuilt webcams at least. But it's just the grain. I mean, it just drives me nuts. This has been driving me nuts too, and figuring out how to connect it to my laptop. So I'll figure it out. I will get this fixed. I'll add it to the mountain of to-dos that I am slowly chipping away from. The next interview next week will be a really good one. Can't wait for y'all to see it. I'm going to go edit this one and the next one now. This is Marc of Off the... Come on, man! Just as I was about to sign off. This is Marc of Off the Mark signing off. Thank you guys for tuning in. I will see you next week. Thank you everyone for listening to this episode of Off the Mark. Please follow me on all my socials on Instagram, TikTok. The handle for my TikTok is Marc Tyrrell Comedy, all one word, MarcTyrrell Comedy. And I have 2 Instagram accounts. One is my main, that's just Marc.Tyrrell, and the other one is my comedy account, which is same as my TikTok. Be sure to like and subscribe, share it with your friends. That stuff helps like you wouldn't believe. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.